Hey, thanks for stopping by and clicking on this video. I record under the artist name of audiotech Audio. I have releases on traxrecords of Chicago. If you'd like to know more about me, you can check out my YouTube channel and watch this video here, or you can check out my website at www.auditechaudio.com. So today we're going to take a look at some basic sidechaining techniques, both practically and creatively. So let's dive straight in. So here we are in a Logic project once again. And first of all, I've set up a number of different tracks where we're going to use a kick drum and a bass line together so that we can then just prevent the kick and the bass from competing with each other in a track. Then we're going to have a look at how we can use something like a vocal, which might be competing with a synth pad. And then we're going to look at how we can use a kick drum rhythmically to trigger a sidechain plugin where we can then make a pad sound more rhythmic and more interesting as well. So first of all, let's take a look at the kick drum and the frequency range which that's occupying. So here we can see that we have our kick drum. We can see that our kick drum is providing a lot of frequency information in between 40 and 80 hertz here. And then if we then put the same plugin on for our bass as well, we can see that on our bass line, that's also competing in the same frequency range here between 40 and 80 hertz. So if we were to play these together, we can hear that there's a slight bit of distortion there where the kick and the bass are competing with each other, and also then you can't really hear the clarity of the kick drum as well. So what we're going to do is stop that a moment. We're going to have a look at first of all two methods of how we can fix that problem. So first of all, we have a dedicated sidechain plugin. This is called Kickstart from Cable Guys, designed by Nicky Romero. And what we can do here is we can select a different number of volume envelopes. And what's going to happen is that these volume envelopes are going to start moving the bass line out of the way when the kick drum hits. So if I just turn that off and then the bass line off and then press play, and then turn on the plugin. So the yellow is the kick drum and the white is our bass line, which is going to be affected. So we can see here that the bass drum is just sitting nicely within this envelope here, and then moving the bass line out of the way when the kick drum hits. So now if we put the bass line on, so here that you can hear that they're competing with each other. And if we press, I'll turn the plugin back on. So there we can hear that the kick drum has now become more prominent within the mix, and is sitting quite nicely there, with our bass. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to mute the kick drum, and then we can hear then the pulse in there of the kick drum affecting the bass line. So what's happened is here we've turned the band on, and then we are selecting the frequency range which we want this plugin to affect. And then if we press these headphones, we can listen to what's actually happening there to our bass line. This dial here allows us to apply how much volume change we want to have. So here it's disengaged. Once again, they're competing. And now again, once again, we have our kick drum sitting quite nicely with our bass line. So that's a dedicated sidechain plugin that we can use. We can also achieve similar effects if you don't have that plugin, using a compressor from within your DAW. So here I have a compressor on the bass line, and I'm just going to turn off the bass line once again. Show you again, in Logic we can select our sidechain input from here. So I can go to audio, select then the kick drum, and then that will be the trigger for the sidechain. So if I start project now we can see this needle reacting every time the kick drum hits. So what we could do then is we can fine tune that with these controls, such as our attack, our release, the amount of volume that we want to apply, or volume reduction that we want to apply to our bass line, and then the threshold of when it starts to happen. You can change some settings here with the knee as well. So if we look at our graph here, we can see that the curve for the knee can be altered using this here. Again, you would need to fine tune these settings, just get the optimal settings for your kick and bass relationship. So let's now have a listen to what that sounds like with bass. And then without the compressor. Once again, we can hear that there's some competing between the bass and the kick. If we turn the compressor back on, you hear the kick drum coming quite nicely through the bass there, giving us a lot more clarity with our kick drum, so that they're both not competing anymore. So that is how we can control kick and bass using either a dedicated sidechain plugin like this, or using a compressor from within your DAW. So next we're going to take a look at how we can fix issues where maybe a synth and a vocal are competing with each other, or maybe you have two synths that you want to are competing with each other, and you want to sort of balance that in your mix. So let's just take a listen to the vocal to start with. Then we'll take a listen to the pad. So here we can see that on the pad there's a lot of energy in this frequency range here, and the vocals are also sitting in the same frequency range here as well. So they are going to be competing with each other when we play them together. So what we've done is, on the synth pad, we've set up a compressor, and that again is now being triggered from the vocal track. So as we then play this project again, we'll see that this needle starts reacting to the vocal. So if I just undo that, turn the plugin on.
Set my soul on a fire, fire. Set my soul rise higher. Set my soul on a fire, fire. Set my soul rise higher. So
this compressor is on the synth pad track. You see it here. This is the synth pad, and we are triggering this compressor from this track here with the vocals. So now if we listen to them both together, so here we can see that every time the vocal plays, it's triggering the compressor and adjusting the volume then of this synth pad. So that's so that the compressor engaged. And then we can hear what volume adjustment is being applied to our synth pad by the vocal. So we can hear like a pulsing sound there, which is happening as a result of this compressor being triggered by our vocal. So that's a way of treating two instruments in a mix that are competing with each other in a certain frequency range. we can basically have our vocal as a trigger, and then that can be changing volume of a compressor on a synth pad, or it might be a piano or other instruments that are competing with each other in a similar frequency range as well. So this is just an exaggerated version just to show you how the compressor is working and how it's making volume adjustments to the synth pad there. So it's quite obvious and easy to, let's say, recognize. So next, we're going to take a look at now some uses of creative sidechaining. So again, we have the same synth pad. And then here we have a creative, let's say, kick drum, creative pattern. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use this kick drum pattern to create a more rhythmic and interesting sequence for this synth pad. So what we're going to do is turn on this plugin here. Now, this is very similar to the Kickstart plugin in appearance, but we have some dedicated envelopes under here. But what's good about this plugin is that we can now start to draw our own envelopes to affect the volume, whereas these are dedicated envelopes that we can only select. We can't draw these in this plugin, unfortunately. So this is why something like this type of plugin is more useful for creative effects. So once again, we can select our sidechain input from here. We're using the rhythmic kick as our sidechain input. We have to engage the sidechain by turning it on here. Now, if we take a listen to what this is doing. So here we can see our kick drum in the background, which is triggering the envelope, and then it's given us a more rhythmic pattern to our synth pad. So once again, there's another example of how we can use sidechaining to create some rhythmic effects with either pads or vocals even. You could chop up vocals doing this technique, or you could chop up other instruments as well to give them some volume changes and to make them sound a little bit more interesting. So these are basically typical techniques that I use in dance or house music production. And I hope you found this video helpful and interesting. And if you'd like to see more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And then I'll make more videos with more useful and helpful tips and tricks to help you with your house music productions. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.